Hello everyone on YouTube. Just doing a quick first impressions of the Cycle Frontier. Played a couple of hours now of the game, and let me just say, it's not good. First impressions, what I think of the game. Looking at the game, I do like the aesthetic of the game. You know, it goes for a sci-fi, kind of like Tarkov theme. You know, you go down on the planet Fortuna, and you know it's in that extraction style gameplay of Tarkov. You go down to the planet, you loot, gather equipment, fight other squads, fight other players, and then get off the map. You know, completing missions and objectives. But the one thing that I don't like about the game, everything just feels really generic. You know, it doesn't really have its own style. It's just took a lot of ideas from different games, hoping that you know they're all mashed together and work well. But to me, it doesn't come off well because you know it's quite a casual game, and you know if you want this style of game, you may as well just go and play Hunt Showdown or Tarkov. You know, Hunt Showdown to me is a much better game even than the Cycle. You know, and the Cycle does a lot of things wrong. For example, I play on controller primarily, and that's due to me being unable to play mouse and keyboard very well, and the controller support isn't very good. You know, I'm not expecting it to have controller support really, you know, because it's early access. You know, it's in the early stages. I mean, it was out on the Epic Game Store, but the game's basically been remade from scratch pretty much. But the controller support isn't good. You know, I've got an Xbox One controller, and all the key bindings are mapped to the PS4 controller or PS5 controller. You know, it's got the key bindings. I'll show you in the video as well. Give you a little brief look at it. You know, it's got L1, R1 instead of LB and RB. So the controller support isn't great. One thing that annoys me about the game as well is it just feels like a rip-off of every other game. You know, I see they, you know, got loads of ideas from, you know, and obviously games take a lot of inspiration from other games, but they've kind of like re-released the game. It was out on the Epic Game Store as just the Cycle, and it had a similar theme where you go and collect resources, but you know they've remade it to try and gather a player base because the other game didn't really do well, to be honest. You know, it kind of died out a little bit. You know, which I commend him for doing that, but you know, it doesn't feel like it has its own identity. You know, it's took this extraction style gameplay from other games, and you know, the other games are better. Like Hunt Showdown's a much better game. Tarkov is a much better game. So why would you go and play this game over Tarkov or Hunt Showdown? It doesn't make sense to me because those games do this idea and execute it much better. So you know, overall, it's not the best really. The graphics are okay, they're serviceable. I do one aspect I do like of the game is that you know it's a persistent world. You drop in the map quite quickly. You can get into a game quite quickly. In the fact that squads drop in and out. But I will say if you are a solo player, and you know I do play solo sometimes. You know, if friends are not online, um, you won't have a good time playing solo on this game. Everyone I've come across is in a duo or a trio or a squad, whatever you want to call it. You know, they're in a team, and if you solo on this game, you're just gonna die pretty much. You know, going to, you know, anywhere populated, any like town where there might be resources, you're gonna die quite quickly. So you know, there's that to consider as well. If you're a solo, it's kind of like playing solo in Apex Legends. If you play in a random squad, you know, you don't know what you're going to get. Most of the time you're playing 1v3 because teammates don't cooperate, and you know it feels the same in this game as well. It feels the same as Apex in the fact that when you play on your own, you're just severely outnumbered. It's 3v1, 2v1, and you know, even you know, if I say myself, I got a decent amount of skill. I played Tarkov for a lot of hours, and you know, you do play, you can outmaneuver players, but in this game, you know, it's not the best really because you're still vastly outnumbered. And if someone's got half a brain, they're gonna kill you quite quickly. You know, so and on another note, on controller support, what I mentioned before, the sensitivity there's no option to change the sensitivity for controllers, so I pretty much can't play the game pretty well because whenever I ADS, the sensitivity is way too high, so I'm, I can't even aim down sights, and get good target acquisition on people because the sensitivity's right up there, and you can only change the keyboard and mouse sensitivity. There's no option to change controller sensitivity. So on that note, it gets for accessibility it isn't great. I look at the angle of accessibility for controllers. For disabled people out there that might not be able to use a mouse and keyboard. So I always look for controller support to be implemented, or get as accessibility options built into it. And this game doesn't have that. So my overall thoughts on the game, it's it's a very generic game. It looks generic, It does. I mean, I do like the sci-fi setting. I'll give it that. It kind of like riffs on Borderlands as well. It gives that kind of style, that cartoony style of like a sci-fi setting. But I just feel like it rips off too much from other games. And other games do, like I said previous, other games do this style of gameplay a lot better. So why would you play this game over, like I said, Hunt Showdown or Tarkov? Those two games alone do this extraction mode 100 times better than this game. And to be honest, I know I've been a bit harsh in this review, but I just don't see this game lasting and maintaining a player base when it does eventually come out. Anyway guys, thanks for listening to this short YouTube review. If you liked it, like and subscribe, and tune in for more. I'll be doing more upcoming reviews in the coming months. Thanks for listening.